What are your, I guess, chances, do you think, the day of? This is tough.
Yeah.
Are you well known, or, I mean, it seems like you've been doing a lot of campaigning, but
I think I'm well known to, as far as things like what you're doing, interviewing me, driving to Harrisburg. I spent. He stayed here with our family for a couple days, and then I just spent some time on his beautiful farm out there in York, PA, and we've all gotten to know each other, so we've all spread the word kind of organically in this kind of grassroots effort. As far as my chances go, I'm the 4th on the ballot, the first Trump supporter on the ballot, and I have, Mr. Trump's behind us. He's the one that recruited us. I've been loyal to him. He's going to be loyal to us, I have no doubt. I will be elected. It's not a question of if. He stands behind who is loyal to him.
I'm wondering about these multiple lists, though. There's multiple slates.
Yes.
So it's got to be a little bit of a concern for you about the confusion.
It's not a concern for me. Even the campaign, a lot of it has to do with egos and things like that. And this isn't even just a campaign. I've seen a list that had our list on it that gave credit to our website, and there was a gentleman on it who, obviously not naming names, who was never even put on our list, and he wasn't put on our list for good reason. But it's a separate organization, and then they make up their list and they distribute it. And just with the Trump campaign, they had an initial list, and then I saw there was only one person in the 12th district on the list, and he happened to be on our list. And then I was calling around, what's going on? Because there's 3 strong Cruz supporters. We can't split the vote. We got to stick with our list. We got our strong 3, and we got to stick with them. And he said, well, the campaign contacted me, and it was a typo, so a new list is coming out. So there's even multiple official lists. And then another gentleman, he got contacted, and I don't accredit this to the campaign at a high level, but at a very low level, I think there might have been some bruised egos and things like that. And there's this kid, he's been a Donald Trump fan, his name's Ryan Bells, he's from the 10th district, and he goes to Penn State, he's a Penn State student, and Donald Trump has been his hero since he was 7 years old. And he said, I'm running for delegate. I actually got to bring him into town and get him to a VIP seating at a Trump event. And that was how I got to meet him face to face. I was able to get 5 delegates into town from across state. That's where I also met Matthew Jansen, who drove all the way in from York. And this kid is totally committed. And someone from the campaign, lower down, contacted him, I believe, on Wednesday and said, hey, you're on the list. And then he saw one list and he didn't show up on it. And I talked to the guy and said, oh, it was misprinted. So I was calling him back to say, hey, you're still on the list. That was just a misprinted list. And he said, no, the campaign just contacted me and said, I'm not on the list now. But you know what I do know? I know the people on our list are first ballot Trumpers. They were recruited by the Trump campaign. We're dedicated to voting for Mr. Trump on the first ballot, regardless of what the district is going to do, regardless of what anybody tells us. And we're not open to negotiations at the convention. I see on some official lists, there's politicians. And me and Matt Jansen last night, we were up till about 2 a.m. and I left at about 6 a.m. and drove 4 hours to get here. So I'm just kind of getting my bearings myself. But me and Matt were like, we saw these people showing up for this supporter and this supporter. So and then we started looking, and articles were getting scrubbed, and people's comments were getting scrubbed. So I went to archive.org and started using the URL because I know we had vetted these people. Started plugging it into there and seeing, oh, this article was changed after the fact. And it has the original comments in it where these people were speaking out. So we're confident behind our list. We know Mr. Trump is confident in us, and maybe this is part of the game. It's the Wild West here. It really hasn't had to hit Pennsylvania as it has. Like I said, it's been a beauty contest in the past, but we stand behind our list. I know HQ, it's all grassroots with Steve Johansson, Matt Jansen, Lisa Patton, who donated the facility, Ron, who's helping out. There was another gentleman, Glenn. He's a disabled veteran who runs the call center. They're doing everything they can to educate the voters, and they're using our list. And people are excited. they all stand behind our list, and we know it's the most thoroughly vetted. And in fact, I've been away from a computer for 2 days because I've been on a farm and also in Harrisburg. So what I need to do is I need to get on the computer and ensure that I can provide people with the most up-to-date information, as well as references that won't change. I had to remove references because the references started changing, and that's why I had to go to archive.org. So what I'm going to have to do is find original references, go to archive.org and send the link. Hey, this is what this person said. And
your list doesn't entirely line up with the official slate, and I'm wondering, it sounds like you have thoroughly vetted your list. Do you know?
It's not me. A lot of the delegates. We've all worked together. Matthew Jansen, he's been very crucial to that effort.
I'm wondering if you know where the discrepancy is, A, and B, I mean, I would imagine folks might want to be using your list rather than the official list, so...
Yeah, I guess there's two ways to look at it. Like I said, the Trump campaign recruited us, and I thoroughly believe that, it is a movement. That Mr. Trump started a movement, and he wants that grassroots effort to prevail. I think you also have another side of it where also Mr. Trump, he understands at this point in the game he needs to be, and I certainly don't want to give him any advice because he knows what he's doing. But I think that there is a need to make political allies to help navigate the political system. I'm sure he's going to choose a VP that will certainly help with that because he's a businessman. He's a winner. He gets stuff done, but he's not a politician. And none of us are politicians, the ones that were recruited. So the same reason you vote for us and the people on our list is the same reason you want to vote for Donald Trump. What we have found is a lot of people on these official lists, which there are multiple, have more of a background in politics. Well, there's not much you need to do besides say we're voting Mr. Trump and we're not changing our minds. Politicians negotiate, and you heard about payoffs and things like that. I don't know what the plan is, but I'm sure it's all part of the grand scheme. And like I said, we've all been loyal to Mr. Trump, so I'm certainly confident that Mr. Trump's going to continue to be loyal to us. I guaranteed on CNN the other day that he was going to make sure that we all get elected, and I know he's going to do that. So I have no doubt that we're going to be elected, all of us. The goal is 45. The goal is 45, which is a little bit beyond. You set your goals high, and maybe you under-deliver a little bit, but I'm confident.
And you said that you want to make it happen on the first ballot.
Yes.
Why is that? Are you concerned about
I am concerned about that because of what happened in Colorado, Wyoming, Georgia, Louisiana. Again, Mr. Trump's not a politician. Ted Cruz is a politician. We're not for Ted Cruz. He's a politician. He might be an outsider in politics, but he is a politician. He knows how to navigate that game. I believe, and I don't want to give Mr. Trump any advice, but I think he knows that he'll need a strong VP to help him navigate the political system. But Ted Cruz, I believe, has certainly done a better effort of getting delegates in that will support Mr. Cruz on second and third ballots over Mr. Trump. And the thing about it is people look at this Pennsylvania system and think, oh, this is like so crazy. It's like so unfair and things like that. Well, you want to know what unfair is? Unfair is whenever all these people in Colorado just get their delegates assigned to them. Nobody has the opportunity I don't have that opportunity to speak with you as I am now. They're just appointed in other states. So it gives us an opportunity to let the voter decide which delegates they want, and not establishment Republicans picking the delegates that are going to go there. And yes, they might have to vote for Mr. Trump on that first ballot, but on the second ballot, they can go wherever they want. So I think there is a great deal of concern, and I think the Trump campaign understands that as well. And I think that's why they took this early strategy in recruiting so many delegates from Pennsylvania and allow it to organically grow from the grassroots standpoint and become this movement that he's created. He's created a movement across the country, but the movement among delegates in Pennsylvania is something so much more close-knit. It's not at this national general feel of a movement. It's a true movement. I showed you this, the t-shirt, the button, the materials going around. It's a real grassroots movement,